So we're going to practice the deep breathing. Our hands, middle fingers barely touching, and we're going to fill our lungs with air. So that gives us an understanding of what we mean when we say take a breath in. We're filling our lungs with air, right? How do you want them to take it? Through their mouth or just nostril? So you're going to use your mouth. You're going to, like you're getting soup in. So let's go. Taking that air, and when you're taking the air, if you're doing it right, your fingers will be pushed away, right? And when you let that air out, your fingers will touch again. So let's try. Let's take in a breath. Exhale. Is it happening for you? It might not happen right away because it's not something we're accustomed to. But when we're not watching that we're breathing, that is what is happening. Our shoulders do not move, and or just our stomach. You know, when the diaphragm goes up and down and the lungs fill up and the air comes out, that is what is happening naturally. All right? Thank you, sir. So we can practice that. And when we practice, did anybody get it correctly? Did anybody get it correctly, guys?
Yes, yes.
You got it? Good. Did you get it correctly?
I do got it, yes.
All right, wonderful. And we can feel the difference. So we have to teach that technique to children. Oftentimes we tell people to breathe, but the truth is what could result if we're breathing well doesn't, because we're not breathing well. So everything is a learning curve. We have to teach them. All right, so we're looking at calming routines for soothing transitions. So we can have them breathe, do some deep breathing. We can have them listen to soft songs, or, you know, before and after the sensory play. So one of the things we do the things to get them ready for the sensory play, but we sometimes don't prepare them to end the sensory play. And it comes in, like, you know, physical activities. So we sometimes just go into it without warming up. But we know where to cool down. You understand? Or we warm down, whatever we call the term. So we want to ensure that we're looking at the beginning and at the end. It's very, very important to deal with it so that the transition is amazing and does what it should do. We want to help children move between activities with predictable, peaceful transitions. So they would know, okay, when I leave the sand station, I go here. When I leave here, I transition here. Or I do this before I do that. When we do that, we're preventing all kinds of chaos and other kinds of stuff in the classroom or wherever the children are gathered, right? So we want to have things in order. We want to remember you have people's children in your care, and safety is such a thing. And if our transitions are not peaceful and also predictable, we can have accidents. We can have problems, and we do not want that. We want to navigate without chaos. The next thing we can do to prepare this wonderful kind of sensory play area that is conducive to do what it says it is, that we can provide individualized support, right? Yeah, work, but we're talking about meeting the needs, and we have all persons must be included. So to meet the needs, we are going to need to do what? Have some individualized sessions. It always won't be group task. The glare there. It always won't be group, you know, even 2 by 2, 6 by 6, whole group, whatever. But we're going to need to have some individualized support. So we're going to tailor the activities for the children with sensory sensitivity. Okay? So let's say we could have dry textures, right, for the touching avoidant children. So there are children who, what we call touching avoidant, they don't like wet, they don't like those things, so they are not. And we probably will see that even with the foods they eat. So some men, they don't like some fruits because it is wet. Or we're beating them to kill them. No, guys, we have to be informed so we can understand what is happening to the children. So they just don't want that. They prefer the dry textures. And there are those who, the wet things, there they go. So we can offer noise cancelling headphones as well, or we can use visual blockers if needed for those children who have issues with the hearing, that kind of sensitivity. Even when you take them to church, I know someone who will literally like stop going to church because the child has issues with sounds and noise. So I'm like, oh my goodness, had the parent known that they could have had the noise cancelling headphones, they could go still and the interaction and everything else would just be so meaningful, but the noise cancelling thing would work so well. So again, it is important for us to be informed so that we can bless our community with information. Guys, information is important. Know how, know when, know why. Those are what we call them, assets. Assets. You might not have millions to give. You might just be like Peter and John meeting the man at Gate Beautiful. The man wanted what? Money, silver and gold. But he said, I don't have that, but what I have I give you. Your information equates, you know, your information is as valuable as silver and gold. So when you have information, don't be afraid to share it. You can save a life, you can save a family. We spoke about what happens when you're not properly regulated in our sensory self, in our sensory development, and how we can grow into horrible adults that no one wants to work with. Nobody don't want to marry. Nobody don't want them children around them. Nobody don't want you in their friends group. Nobody wants you in their WhatsApp group. Nobody don't want to live next door to you, right? So we don't want to have that kind of thing continuing. We want to put an end, right, or an end to that kind of thing. So let us share the information that we have. Another thing that we can do is to keep sessions short and purposeful. Oh my Lord, I don't know how people do it. Just doing one thing, going on and on. No, we have to remember as children, remember as attention spans. We're looking at the developmental abilities and readiness of the children too. So we want to keep them short and purposeful so we can use brief and engaging sensory experiences to maintain attention. They don't have to be long. We can gradually increase the time as we go based on how they are maturing, you know, and how comfortable. It's not just with the maturity, it's how comfortable the children are with these as well. Then we're going to foster the emotional readiness, because that's what it's going to be. Ensure the children are not hungry and tired. You know, ensure they're not upset. You might probably need to let them have bathroom break first. You probably need, you know, so some little routines that you normally have based on you're dealing with people, not paper. So we have to look to see how we are going to ensure that they get the best of the experience. Oh, you normally have this and break is at 10:30, but you're watching them and it's still there, you know what you have planned for your sensory thing, and they, you know, you probably think it would be best to let them have break first and then the sensory thing after, so you don't go and then you have to be rushing back because they know that they're going to be hungry, they're going to clock out. No, so we have to really use a lot of let good sense prevail, they would say. What we can do as well for those who are not ready, emotionally ready, and whatever else ready, we can provide comfort. We can provide them with assurance and reassurance to reduce the internal emotional distraction that they have already. Remember what we're doing is try to reduce distraction. So that whilst we're trying to manage the external distraction, remember that distraction can also be internal. So what they're coming with, what they're scared of, what they're upset about, you know, those can be part of the whole distraction as well. So we have to provide the reassurance. We have to provide the comfort. We have to try to reduce these as well. All right. Any feedback? What will be your takeaway from this information that you have just had? What will be your takeaway? How can you show up differently in this area in making an effort to reduce distractions for children when we're wanting them to enjoy sensory activities or anything else, understanding what distraction can do on the body, on the learning. Somebody said earlier they had headache. You understand? The emotion is affected, just about all manner of things. So what's your takeaway? Pick it up quickly, someone.
My takeaway.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Having listened, and there's so much focus that is placed on just sensory needs and wanting to stimulate children, and I just thought that it's important to understand that distractions are very real.
Very.
And when you said that as adults, we can sort of name the feeling that we're having or name what is annoying us, children are not always able to do that. And then when they can't, the behavior sort of perceived in a way that, they might be viewed negatively or maybe even be viewed as being disruptive. And so I thought about the importance of just understanding that, in any setting where you have children or even your own children, as it relates to the overstimulation of children, as you spoke about that, each class I always try to see like, okay, how does it apply to me? Because that's where I remember information. And I thought about overstimulation, and as parents, my husband and I, we're big on like buying sensory things for our children, right? And one day we just looked around and we realized that they were starting to take over the living room area. And I started to go through the things, and as I was going through them, everybody was, "Whoa, we have this," and they're so excited as if the first time they're seeing them. And I realized that the sensory items, they weren't really serving them anymore. They weren't serving them because they had too many of them, right? And so what I started to do is a system where you sort of cycle them. So you put out what you need them to have, and then you pack them away, put them in the lower bin so that they don't see them anymore. But then at the same time, I realized that while I'm preparing my children with sensory items, I'm not sort of teaching them how to regulate, themselves when they're in like the real setting where they don't have it's not a free for all. They don't. I always believe in gifting or blessings the gift of choice and of just choosing. And I realized that, sensory is such an important, it's so important, but it's so important to also do it correctly, to sort of do it with limits and to teach transition from one task to another. But for me, this is probably my favorite so far topic of the course. I believe that if we get sensory right, then we truly lay a foundation to build on. And when children have like different limitations as it relates to like how they process things, I think it's so important to sort of meet them where they are so that we can just help them to be seen so that they can build on what they have. But what it is that they're not processing as how we think that they should, the reality is that they're processing, right? So it's just really just to learn them of where they are. And so that's my takeaway and just my feedback.
Wow. Thank you so much. Well said. Well said. Is there anybody else with anything that she had not touched on and you think it's important for us to know? What's your takeaway? Okay. Sounds like she did say it for us all. All right. So we're going to continue along this, as she said, that the sensory thing, if we get it right, or so many other areas, the cognitive, the motor skills, the other areas that will just fall in place if we can really get this sensory development right. So we want to look at how we can help children to express sensory experiences and feelings. So as you said, they're doing the sensory stuff, and then we just leave them because we're in a zone where whatever we give to our children is just to keep them quiet and to keep them out of trouble and to keep them, give us a break, and we give them things. But now we're recognizing, no, it's not quite like that. We have to wheel and come again because it's really not quite like that. So we want to look now, how can we help children express these sensory experiences and also their feelings? So let's get into it. So have you ever seen a child frown, let's say after touching something sticky, or they might burst out into laughter when they taste something sour? Have you ever seen anything like that or close to that?
Yes, well.
Okay. So these are not just reactions. These are opportunities. So oftentimes we think they're reactions, but they're opportunities. And adults, you know, have the tendency to get carried away by reactions. So when we see the reactions, we grab out phone to video, we grab out this to do this, or we start call crowd or whatever, and we miss the opportunities. So we want to ensure that we are nailing the opportunities. So as early childhood practitioners, it is our responsibility to guide children in learning the words that will match what their bodies and their hearts are experiencing. What a tremendous responsibility that is. I think that is amazing. I think if you are that teacher that will help a child to regulate in the sensory area, I don't think there are all so many, you know, that are intentional about that. Most people just want to ensure they can do 1, 2, 3 or say ABC. But if you are one of those persons who could just pause and ensure that you help a child to learn the words that will match what they're feeling in their bodies, the sensation and the different thing, what their heart is experiencing, oh my goodness, I think that could be a way that the crime rate could really be reduced. Because many persons get into serious trouble because they cannot express what they're feeling in their bodies and what their hearts are experiencing. And so they do just the wrong thing. They make bad publicity and bad headlines. So this is one way that we can begin from now to see how in the next 20 years the crime rates can go down. And I mean it. So when children have the language to describe, we're saying to them, use your words. But where are they going to get the words from if they weren't taught? Use your words. Use your words. Where are they going to get it from? So I'm having that kind of experience now. So we're doing summer school and we have students I'm just seeing and those who are just being prepared for school. And let me tell you, the screaming for everything is a thing. I want to do this. I want to urinate. I want tea. I want water. And they're going on and going on. What do I do? Am I going to fall for it? Am I going to not be able to hear the noise and try to pacify them? So parents pacifying children is not even helping them. We have to find a way. We have to develop the backbone and the know-how so we can deal with it. So I'll get down to their level and I'll eyeball them. I said, that's not how we're going to communicate in here. So I hear what you're saying. You want water. But we're going to ask for it. What am I doing? I'm empowering them with words they might not have known. Nobody may have said that to them before or continue to reinforce it. I'm like, we're going to say, Auntie, may I have water, please? We're going to stop crying and we're going to say that. And they stop crying, Auntie, may I have water, please? And I'm like, see, that's it. You'll get the water. So guess what? We have to help them to give them the language that they will use to describe what they sense, how they're feeling, and you know, and how to develop the stronger communication skills, greater self-awareness, and also emotional control. We cannot see children not having emotional control and we leave it unchecked and then say when they get older it will get better. Guys, if you ever understand what habit is, there's a scripture that says something like, if the person steals, you know, and continue to steal and doesn't stop and check it, they will perfect that habit. And that always frightens me. So if we see our children doing little things, you know, they're not controlling their emotional self and they're not growing in self-awareness, and we just leave it, thinking that when they get older, understand that every time it is done, it is practice for perfection. So the wrong thing is practice for perfection. So as they get older, they will perfect this behavior that will not be wanted. So we cannot leave them unchecked. We have to help them with emotional control. So in the lesson today, we will be exploring how to help, right? How to help the children express both the sensory experiences like hot and cold and rough and soft, along with the emotional feelings feelings like happy, sad, scared, excited, calm, and the other things. So we're looking now and understanding that this is a key part of language and emotional development. So we're talking about development, we're talking about readiness level, and we're seeing that the things are so linked together. There's no one and not the other. So as we work out the emotional, we realize that we're developing language. And that's what it's about. That is what kindergarten is about. Developing the language, developing the emotional, developing the everything. Developing the fine motor skills, developing the large motor skills. So we can't just prefer. So let's look. So what are some ways that we can introduce these terms to help them to express them? One way, there are no hard and fast of anything as in first, second, third, but we could look at let's say using descriptive language during daily routines. So there comes again where the children are not just left there and adults are just there passing through. Everything is intentional when we understand what must happen. All right, so guys online, you should be taking your notes. I tell you, if you just sit there and listen to me, you're going to fall asleep. And so write your notes, read, write down questions to ask so you can stay alert, because the learner has a responsibility. So you getting ahead, not going to be all on me where I have to remember to modulate your voice and keep them awake, scream and shout and whatever. No, take some notes, do some stuff so that you remain awake and focused. Do the noisy thing again. No, I'm going to hurt Lady J's head. All right. So we're looking at using descriptive language during the daily routine. What's that? So let's say we're serving food. We say this is banana. This banana is soft, if it's a ripe one, right? Or this banana is hard or tough or whatever we're going to say. And we're going to check in with them. So we tell them, we're giving them information. So the next time they feel the banana and they feel the banana like that, they will remember the word soft. Soft banana, right? Soft banana. So we're not going to use no baby about soft nana. No, tell them from day one it is banana. They will say how much of it they have. If they can only pronounce nana, that's fine. But every time you're going to say it, you're going to say banana. Okay? So this is soft banana. And we're not going to leave it there. We're going to check in, you know, with the emotional part of it. So we want to check in now, you know, to say to them, do you like how it feels? That's the bomb there. Do you like how it feels? So this is soft banana. Do you like how it feels? Right there, we're learning them. Do they like soft things? What's happening? And we're getting so much information. We can look at what can happen as well at the outdoor play. So we're, okay, the wind is cool on our faces, right? So we can use our gesticulations and stuff like that. So then this is face. You'll be surprised to know how many children do not know the body part. So where the wind is cool on our faces, and so they say that this is face. You're pointing the facial area and this is face. The wind is cool on our face. What did I ask today? I love to do this body part thing with my learners, and I love to step it up from just the common words that they know to like bigger words. So like I asked today, that they were to touch their sternum. Touch your sternum. And somebody went down and touched the ankle. So just imagine what would look like if our sternum that is right here between, right here in the chest area, was covering and protecting our heart there. If that was at our ankle, how it would look, you know? So we need to let them know the different body parts. So we talk, you know? The wind is cool on our face. And again, we're checking, do you like how it feels? How does it make you feel? And we're checking to see what they like, okay? We could be cleaning up. So any activity. So it happens all the time. Any activity we're cleaning up. Oh, this water feels warm. Or this water feels cold. Whatever feeling that is happening at the moment. How does it make you feel? Or you could even ask them, how does it feel to you? How does it feel to you? Are you following?
Yes, please.
Eva.
Yes, miss.
All right, wonderful. You know I love the feedback. All right, so remember we're looking at ways to introduce sensory terms and to help them express their feelings. So we say one, we're going to use descriptive language, describe everything and check in with the feelings. The next thing we can do is to introduce word bank. We can remember not all learners at a level are going to be able to read words. So what we're going to do, the word bank is still going to be a word bank. We can use pictures or we can use objects. Right? So word bank doesn't have to be word made up of letters. It can be pictures or it can be objects. So we can create visual charts. We can use texture words, you know. We can have rough, and the rough things, so those who can read know that this word is rough, or whatever, bumpy, smooth, sticky. We can have the whole thing there. We can use, for feelings, we know we use the faces, and in an emoji time, we're not short on those stuff. We can have them matching, we can use like matching objects with the descriptive cards, example sandpaper, and they will know, well, this is rough, or this is soft, or this is hard, or different stuff like that. So we can do some of those things as well. Another thing we can do to help to introduce the terms, then we can also read aloud, and we can pause to discuss sensory words. That means we'd have to gather the material that would make sense to the reading thing. We're not just going to read anything, we grab our hand on at last minute. We have to check the thing first, make sure it is appropriate, and it's going to meet the objectives. It's going to have sensory words. When we get to those words, we can stop and we can check. So we can pause to ask, what do you think that feeling is like, or what that felt like? Have you ever felt that way? So we're going and we're talking and we're learning a whole heap, because that's the aim, to learn our learners. We could model expressive vocabulary. That's another thing we can do to help them. We can model the vocabulary. So the teachers should frequently label their own sensory and emotional experiences. So when you label, as a parent too, when you label your own sensory and emotional experience, then the children are able to learn. We're talking about modeling. So we could say, that smell is strong. It reminds me of mint. So guess what? When they begin to smell, they can link that smell to mint. So you are modeling your expressive vocabulary, and they are learning as well. We're developing that kind of vocabulary. Oh, I feel excited because we're painting today. So you realize how you're doing the thing. You're frequently labeling your sensation. You're labeling your sensory and emotional experiences, and so they know what is happening. So the next time they probably see you look a particular way, they probably ask you, are you painting today? You look happy. Because they're going to begin to link the things. And then you could, you could, maybe it's not paint you're painting, but something else happens and you're expanding. That, okay, we can have this feeling too. I can feel excited when this happens as well. We can look at we can play vocabulary games, and there are quite a bit of them that we can research and we can use, and we can make our own. I love making things that will be unique for groups of people. So we can have the guess the feeling or guess the sensation thing, so the children can act out or describe without saying words. We know we have different games for those, and we can make our own to match these. We can look at what's in the bag kind of thing, so the children can feel, put their hand down in the bag. They love big things, put their hand down. Let the bag reach up to their shoulder, man. It's the excitement of it. And they're feeling inside the bag, and they're describing what it is. And then when they tell you what they feel and what it is, then you take it out and show them, so they can see if what they were describing, if that is really what it is. You also get to understand where they're at and how they're developing. We can, of course, use songs, and we can use rhymes. We can incorporate songs that describe sensory and emotional experiences, right? So there's a very popular one that we like to use. What's that? If you're happy and you know it, and you do all kind of things, right? And there's another little one that we use. This is the way we wash our hands, wash our hands, wash our hands. So you're using sensory items and stuff. The soap, the water, the this, the that, the sound of the water, so many things going on right there.
I like it when I'm thirsty.
Yes.
I like it when I'm dirty, and even when I'm not. I like
So
to
the
feel
rhymes
water tickling my toes, but I do not like the water when it gets
get up in my nose. All right, we can encourage journaling. Yes, kindergarten, we're talking about journaling. Yes, we can have them draw. Yep, you don't have words, you can draw. We can have them draw. We can let them draw how something made them feel or what it looks like or felt like. So they can draw. And we can look at how they press on the crayon or the pencil. And we can know if they're angry, upset, or what is happening, or if they're afraid or nervous. We can look at those things. We can get ourselves trained as well, even at the basics, so we can understand what is going on paper. We can encourage them to like label parts of the drawing with words. Those who can write and spell words, like they could say cold or oh, it made me feel ticklish or whatever, or sour, or they could, or you could ask them and they could also tell you or show you, make the facial expressions as well. And I think the last one in this we could look at, we could create a feeling and sensation corner, don't you think? And like I said, you know, I'm a stickler. These things must not only be in the classroom, they must be in the home as well. Don't let the teacher love to develop your child more than you want to develop your child. Don't leave it up to the teacher. What if it's a teacher who don't have none in the class? Are you saying that your child that God has given you will not be developed because you're waiting on somebody else? So homes should have it as well. Go to the schoolroom and see what the teacher has. Ask the teacher why it is there and go home and make one, a mini one for your home. All right, guys?
Yes, miss.
Where has that left us? What are we thinking about hearing that information?
Stimulated.
What are you thinking on?
Stimulated.
Can you please repeat the question?
Pardon?
Can you please repeat the question? You said where has it left us, but then
Yes. Yes, where has this information left you? And then I did a follow-up. What are you thinking, having received this information?
Well, for me, it's just the importance of, like, language is so important, and I think sometimes it's sort of forgotten in the age that we're in, where children are sort of, I don't know, even children that are not North American, they sound very North American, right? And I just think it's just important for us to know that we need to sort of be talking to our children, and even in classroom settings, I think sometimes that's when the deficits are being realized and instead of being realized at home.
Oh,
so
yes.
For me, it just, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying, so for me, it's just important to sort of understand that raising children is it's an all-around thing. It's not just one thing. It's not just a necessity. It's about knowing, and when you know, you really show different for them, because you know that development truly depends a lot on parents. I know a lot of times when children lack, the blame is placed on like educators, but I always just go back to the source, and I think if the source understands how it is to model expressive vocabulary, then it means that you're preparing your child so that when they're not in your presence, they can explain what they're feeling, they can communicate so that they can be understood. And just understanding that, like how, like there's so many things out there that can help, but it's just tapping into that knowledge.
Amen.
Because it's there and it awaits inquisitive minds. So, yeah.
Wow. Miss, I do believe that the child's development cannot be just one side. You know, one dimensional where, say, parents are relying just on what teacher impart to them. It has to be a multi-dimensional sort of thing. You know, in olden days, they used to say it takes a whole village to grow a child. So, and I think in that context, everything around them must stimulate them for growth and development.
You both are correct, and you have said some powerful things. And as I'm listening to the feedback, my mind is just so active, and I'm here saying, wow. And I can't help but to measure everything that we're saying and whatever we're hearing. Hey, Lady Chef, everything we're hearing and saying, I can't help but to go back to the Bible, because that is going to be the foundation. And as I'm here thinking, I want us to know that parents are fully responsible for the development of their children. Pardon? I didn't say a scripture. I'm just saying the Bible. Yes. So parents are fully responsible for the development of their children. And I know that persons probably are having quite a number of questions even now. Why am I saying that parents are fully responsible for the development of their children? Also, might be saying they're not trained, or they might not this, and they might not that. Hold up a second, I'm coming right there. And I'm going to say it again. Parents are fully responsible for the development of their children, the proper development of their children. And we go back to what family was supposed to be in the first place, how God designed it. We go back to the fact that we should not have them if we're not ready. We should understand what it costs. You know, we should not, you know, that's when you're married, you don't go into this thing unadvisedly. We don't go into parenting without having information and understanding what it's going to cost. So you not understanding is no excuse. You're fully responsible. We are fully responsible for the children that we bring into this world. So when we understand that, what are we going to do when we understand that? We are therefore going to recognize that, okay, as a parent, I may not be a teacher. So, and I understand how important the role of the teacher is in helping me to fully develop my child, so that this gift that God has given me, I do not abuse the gift. What am I going to do? I am going to have to not just choose the little school that is closest to my home. I have to ensure that it is the best environment, and it has the best policies and the best of everything that is going to help me to fully develop my child, because I am responsible. So I'm going to be looking for things and places and people, right, to bring into my environment that would help me with the responsibility I have to develop my child. So it comes back down to parents, all the way down to parents. But you see, as the Lady C says, we blame educators. We blame this, we blame that. Parents, you are fully 100% responsible for the development of your children. We are here only to come alongside. Sunday school teachers are not the ones who are supposed to be telling your children about the Lord. Deuteronomy 6 tells us that you should love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your might, all your soul. And then you go and you teach it to your children. So Sunday school teachers, Sabbath teachers are just there helping you with your responsibilities. Teachers are just here helping you with your responsibilities. So it is parents, we must not continue to let parents go free. We should not continue to let them just sit by. It is wickedness. It is sinful. It is against the word of the Lord. So we don't have all the abilities, but we're going to seek them out, because we understand that we're fully responsible for the development of our children. And if we cannot, we don't have them. And we have to tell our young girls that. We have to tell our children. We have to tell our sons. We have to start telling our sons from early, you are going to be fully responsible for the children that come in this world with your name. You're going to be fully responsible. Tell your girls that you are going to be fully responsible. And you explain what the responsibility means, so that they can know. If nobody say it, we're just going to continue to have this deficit. We're just going to continue to have children suffering. Too many children are suffering. And it's not okay. It is not okay. All right? So we want to now look at how we can use sensual words in the right context. Because the thing is, sometimes we use sensual words but we really don't use them in the right context. And we want to help children to develop. And we want those who hear us to grow. So how can we use sensory words in the right context? So we want to ensure that we're matching the term to the right sense. We're what? Matching the sensory terms to the right sense. So when we use texture words, we want to make sure we're using the right texture words. We're talking rough and smooth, and we're describing what children what? Touch. What they what? Touch. Rough and smooth, what you touch. We want to describe them with the senses. When we're talking about flavor words, what we want to use? The sweet and whatever. So we use the flavor words, right? With those things relating to their taste. I pause because I'm having a thought. So it is, my experiences cause me to think a little different. So like teaching in high school or having to teach adults, or you know, the different levels of education. So one of my thing was when you're writing stories for me, when you're doing composition, when you're writing things, don't you ever put the word nice in there unless it's a taste you're talking about. You understand? We talk about nice. You can, you said the ice cream nice, the book nice. What is the meaning of nice? So that, like just flinging words around like that can be difficult. So we want to reserve certain words for certain senses. Are we understanding that? So we talk about, we want to use sound related words when? With what? With hearing, right? With the sense of hearing. So we talk about loud and soft. We want to know that we're dealing with the sense of hearing. How could we be possibly talking about like feeling and talk? But then again, language has gotten so crazy. If we realize how everything is just getting so crazy, people are so defiant, and the aim is just to destroy our children and make them into lunatics if we're not careful. Because now, somebody see, this is loud, and loud has nothing to do with sound. You understand? They're using different things. So our children, we have to keep talking to them. If we're not constantly talking to them, my God, their comprehension going to be in problem.
Like I hear people say, don't look at me so loud. What sense does that make?
All right. So let's go. We're looking at the visual words, right? When we're talking about the visual word, we're talking about the sense of sight. So we're talking about bright and colorful and those things. All things bright and beautiful. We're talking about using those sense words. We'll talk about the smell words now, man. With stinky and the fresh and those things. We're talking about odors. That's all. Yeah. So we know what sense they're using there. The sense of smelling. So we want to use the right words. We want to use them in the right context if it is we're going to help them. We also want to use real life everyday examples. So during snack time, how can we bring that in and bring it in? Well, this mango taste
good.
Sweet. This mango taste sweet. Use a sense word. Good is what? Is good salty, sour, bitter, or what?
Nonsense.
Sweet. Use a word that they can relate
sour.
to. It tastes sweet, or it's sour, or it's
fresh.
It feels stringy.
There you go. All right, doing water play, we can say the sponge feels how? Soft and squishy, or it is wet. You know, we're using soft stuff. On the nature walk, the sun looks how? Bright today. The sun looks bright today. Doing music, we could say the drum sounds how? What the drum is going to sound? Loud. Or the drum sounds what? We're going to use those words, and we want to use them appropriately. Are you with me?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Smart toy, treasures, bless you.
Oh yeah.
All right. So we're looking at reinforcing the vocabulary through repetition. We have to say it over and over. We have to say it over and over. Come on, parents. Stop saying, look how much time I tell you. Tell them again. If you have to be saying, look how much time I tell you, that means you have not said it enough time. Let's go back to Jesus and the guy there asking, how much time should I forgive? And when he thought he had done his best, he hears 70 times 7. Let's go again, parents. So let's repeat. Teachers, let's do the repetition stuff. Repeat the sensory words as children explore. Yes, that is sticky. Do you feel it sticking to your fingers? Are you hearing a word given context right there? It is sticky. I will let them know that, oh yeah, It's sticking to your fingers. It's sticky. Sticky. And we can go hunting, sticky hunting. Let's see what else feels sticky around here. And we can make sticky stuff. Get out the flour. Mixed up in water. Let's make sticky. And we go on sticky hunting. Alright, but again, we don't want to mess up our nice kitchen. Look like person probably have all carpet in their kitchen. So they don't want the children spilling anything. Come on, take out the piece of old things them and let the children get the experience. Alright, so we're talking about the repetition. Encourage children to use the words themselves. So you can, oh, we're going to do that. We did questioning already, right? So we're going to ask what kind of questions? Open-ended questions. What does it feel like? Rather than you always telling them no, you want them to express. So what does it feel like? What do you hear? Like we hear thunder outside. What do you hear? What does that smell remind you of? And we're going to ask, we're going to get it in there. We can also pair sensory words with visuals. So we use pictures or gestures when we're saying words. So you rub your hands to something smooth when you say smooth, not true? Or you wrinkle your nose when something smells how? Stinky. Stinky socks or stinky toes. So they know what that is saying and what's going on there. We can also embed in our routines and transition these things. So we can say, let's wash your hands, and then we're going to wash your hands, and the water is what? Cold. Most of our water in Jamaica is going to be cold. Those overseas, they will mostly be washing their hands in warm water. Our water going to be cold. The soap feels smooth. It could be smooth or, you know, slippery. That's a good one. And it smells how? So we can get in the smells.
Sweet.
It could be sweet, it could be fruity, it could be, you know, different things that they're in their schema. They could tell you how it smells. And some of them will tell you, so we're going to move on with these smells. Do you like it? Because guess what? A lot of times we buy things, fragrant stuff, and we don't buy them with children in mind. We buy them where? For us. We buy them for the adults, for our liking. You know? So we ask, do you like it? We'll be surprised to know the things they don't like that's in their house or the places where they should be comfortable. And in it, we also want to respect culture and respect individual differences. So be aware of how children may describe or react to sensations, right? And they will do so differently based on the background or sensory sensitivity. So like we just mentioned, you know, how we're going to do the nose, we're going to talk about stinky. Some children, based on their environment, they're comfortable saying stink or stinky. Others, they know that if they ever use the word stink, they are going to go under any minute now. They're not allowed, you know, so we have to understand and help them to process. There's a word, and it all comes again based on experience and just culture, whatever the culture is. And like, you know, you're talking about masculine and feminine. And today, children are afraid to write the feminine for dog. They think they're going to get into trouble. So as parents, we have to be careful how we bring about things to children. So when you tell them the feminine of dog is bitch, look here, they think it's a bad word. And I mean, children shouldn't have those experiences. I'm sorry. They should just know it's a word. They shouldn't have. So if you're at home calling each other bitch and them something there, just cut it out now. And let the children get to learn and be comfortable in the classroom. Send them to us, pure man, so we can put things into them. So the work we have to get down that stigma and that thing from, they don't want to write it. If you give them to spell, they're not writing it. They prefer to get that one wrong. They're not writing it. They're not saying it. So we're seeing how culturalization creeps in and affects the experience that they have in the learning environment and elsewhere. All right, so that little section there, using sensory words in context, what did that reveal?
very important to use things in the correct context.
It is important to do so. So let me just show up a little, match the word to the sense, and we see a little thing there. Whoops. So we can take pictures of that if we'd like to have it, or we can add more to it. We also spoke of using real life context. If I'm going too fast, let me know. Remember, that's my fault. I teach fast. I move fast. But feedback is a good thing. No miss, put it right back, and I'm good. May I move on?
Yes, ma'am.
Then we talk about using real life context. What we're going to do, the mango tastes this, the sponge tastes whatever. So we're using real life situations. We want to ensure that whatever we're learning, we can see it's happening. It's applicable.
How do you explain that the soup smells nice? You normally use nice to taste.
Soap smells,
Fruity.
yeah.
It smells. Some of them will tell you stinky. And come on, adults.
Well, yes, there's some smoke, there's some soap.
Some soap just smells stinky, I'm telling you.
Soap don't have a nice smell to it.
You're right. Then we teach through repetition, open-ended questions, visual and gestures, daily routine. We encourage children to
Describe what they see, hear, smell, touch, and taste. Use
Yes.
feeling and sensory word
confidently. We encourage them to do that. All right, let's see the time. What time is it? Oh, we have a little bit over 30 minutes. We can touch another topic. Let's look. We can now look at evaluating. Let's work on evaluating ways to identify sensory impairment in children. So I've only been looking at it like working and working good, but let's understand that it always don't work well in everybody, right? Maybe not even working all that good in some of us. So let us look at how we can identify sensory impairment in children. So we want to first look at what then is going to be sensory impairment. We want to look at what it is in children, how to identify it. So we need to know what it is. What is it, guys?
A difficulty in receiving, processing,
A difficulty in receiving, processing, responding to information from normal senses.
All right, beautiful. So that's what sensory impairment is, and this may affect your vision. Remember the sensory? So we're looking at the senses. So it may affect the vision, the hearing, the taste, the smell,
touch.
even the balance. Because remember we spoke earlier up about the vestibular, which is the balance, and also the proprioception. What is that? What did we say that was? The awareness of the body. All right, so we have those two we add to the sensory areas as well. Okay, so let's look at some common types of sensory impairments. Take a picture of the screen if you'd like. Is it up? Yes. So we can look at common types of sensory impairments. Are we seeing them there? And we're seeing all of the sensual areas there. And we have the visual impairment. That is what?
Difficulty.
Challenges seeing clearly. Then we have the hearing impairment. What's that?
Difficulty hearing sound or following verbal instructions.
All right, so difficult. I like the last part. The problem in hearing sound, we always know that. But the following the instruction, we probably just forget it. But difficulty hearing sounds or following verbal instructions. Then we have the tactile sensitivity, right? This is the discomfort with what?
Feeling.
Hello?
Hi, could you go back to the previous slide, please?
Not a problem. I am so happy to do that for you. There we go.
Thank you.
Okay. Let us know when you're done with it.
You may continue. Thank you.
All right, thank you. You know, that makes me feel good. It means that somebody's documenting. Documenting is important. All right. So we're moving over to the common types of sensory impairment. And we looked at the tactile, discomfort with texture. avoiding touch, that they may not want to be touched, or they avoid messy, what we call messy play and stuff like that. So we know there's something going on there. And let me tell you something, my Lord, I feel it for children who have the sensory thing and the tactile sensitivity, because adults not understand themselves, you know. I mean, they're touching and holding the children and they don't want to be, and they're grabbing them up and holding them. So they say, come here, come, you're too shy, or come here, do this. Parents, get a hold of yourself. Parents just need to get saved. They just need a little bit more Jesus. Come on, man. Yes, man. The poor children, them, they struggle. You guys not feeling it for them? As them would say, Granny would say, they poor pitney them. My God, man. It's a lot to bear. Yes, man. Then we have the auditory sensitivity. The over what? Over what? What's that? The overreacting to what? Sounds, man. So what you see them doing? Covering their ears, doing the loud noise. So remember, what is loud to you and loud to them are two different things. So let's think like Frog. Frog say, what is joke to you? Dead to me. So let's understand that loud. So you might think it's just a normal level. Them say loud, it loud. We understand that? It is loud. Then we're looking at the vestibular issues. So the poor balance. And Lord, if we're not careful, it looks like that's all we're getting in the schools now. Poor balance. So parents, let's work at that at home. Poor balance, poor thing them. If you say stand up to lean down, you think that the bench was made on them. They're born at the bench and they're born at the wall. They can't stand up and don't fall down. They have to always be scotching. Come on, let's work on those things. And then we have so many who are afraid to climb. They don't even want to climb on a step, you know. They don't want to climb on the tires. They don't want to climb on anything. So we want to help them gradually. Don't beat them into it. Help them gradually. Then you have the whole clumsiness, not holding anything. I don't know, but teachers, I pray for you. Like I pray for myself in Jesus' name. The amount of time you have to stop to wipe up the spill. Poor thing, them can't hold a little bottle. They can't hold this. Oh, they spill the food, they spill the this, they spill the crayon container, this drop, that drop. Ooh, ooh, ooh. So what is happening? Teachers of certain ages will soon have to not be in the classroom. Okay, if you can't bend down, bend your back, do all this thing up and down, it might not be the place for you. Because the vestibular issues are big. They are big. Our children are not going outside to run up and down again. We're not running down goats and running down dog outside. When we're in the country, we had a goat. You have to run down the goat, trying to step on the rope of the goat to catch the goat. Those help to build muscle and build other things. Or little children, tablets don't give you that. We need to go outside so we can, you know, run down butterflies. Who used to run down butterflies? Run down butterflies and those things. Those little things, they do help. Our children do not have. Sadly, they don't have those opportunities. Well, let me not say that.
Yes, well,
go ahead. Go ahead.
They're told that they would fall.
Oh, yes, man. The parents are going to tell them, don't run, they will fall. So guess what? What do? Do we know that there are protective gears for outdoor play? We can put on the things on their knee, on their elbow. We can put on hat on them and stuff like that. If we're afraid of them falling. And if they chip up today, it will heal. Yeah, and if they break a bone, it will heal. It's a part of the experience.
A little chip up is not bad. Plus, just before you go back to school, September, you go back.
Yes. So we are so paranoid at times that we prevent our children from having the experiences that they need, not understanding that we are damaging them. You know? And then they become labeled sometimes the things that we could have prevented if we're just doing the things that should have been done. Doing the things that our grannies let us do. Go out and play some ball, man. Kick ball.
Go shoot bird.
You know, do some things that will help them. Throw things that, plant a cherry tree in your yard and let them try to reach up and pick cherry, or throw a ball at cherry and a cherry drop and they pick the cherry. When we were growing up, we were stoning mango tree, we were doing all kind of things. We were jumping out a guava tree, doing all manner of things. Yes, I have guava trees around a pond, right? And the pond had frogs, and I was afraid of the frogs, but I love the guava. So I would climb the guava tree, man, and when it bent over to get down in the water, you know, I'm not dropping down in that water because the frogs and I not. So I'm going to hold on. So I learned my grips, and I learned to climb, and I learned to use problem solving.
You still afraid of frogs?
I learned to use problem solving. So, you know what? Lots of things to learn out there. So we have the proprioceptive difficulties, right? We're appearing rough and bumping into others and poor coordination. So we have some children, you're giving them the pencil, they just grab it from you. You're giving them the book, they just drag it. To give them the meal, they just drag it. And something you think is manners them to have, but look here, it's difficulty them experiencing. What the difficulty?
You try to regulate.
Yes, man. So the poor coordination, the this, the that, the bump into this, you can't organize the room enough for them not to bump in there. You can't make enough space for them not to bump into others and bump into people's thing and spill it. And then you know, if we do not teach the emotional control, what you're going to have, fights and all manner of things. And parents come and get involved and all kind of stuff, because parents don't really take chat these days. Everybody just like Sylvester Stallone or whatever.
Hot-head.
Them just hot-head. So we're going to want to teach the right thing. So let's see some signs we can watch for in children to know if they're struggling with anything that
Auntie, can I go back just 1 minute, please?
I sure can. I love doing that. That is the one?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. All right. So we're looking at the signs to watch or to look out for, to watch for in children. So we see them squinting. We're going to begin to observe and watch that. We see them rubbing the eyes often. We see them avoiding close-up work. You know, any visual stuff, they're avoiding it. We see them not responding to their names. What could that be telling us? The first set of things, the squinting and the rubbing the eyes often and the avoiding close-up work and stuff. What could be going on?
Visual impairment.
Some form of visual impairment at some level or whatever could be happening there. Then we realize that we're calling them and they're not responding to the names, and we're getting mad because they're disrespectful. They're not answering up. Yeah. Or they're turning up the volume off. When you set the thing on one thing, they come and turn it up. Or when they have to listen, when this tablet there and they're using it, they turn up theirs loud, loud, loud. And you think that they don't know how to live in community. What could be happening there? Hearing impairment could be setting in. All right. What we think about those avoiding hugs or the dislike, you know, tags or seams in their clothing and stuff like that? What we have in, do we have the tactile thing there, the touch? They're not the touch. Something is going on there with the touch. Then we see those trouble sitting still. They seem clumsy. With movement or body awareness, we know something going on, not true?
That big word.
There we go. They get upset by certain smells or food texture. They don't like the taste or the smell of that. What's going on there? Or we could see that they're over or under reactive to sensory input. They're neither, some are neither, not moved, while some are just the other end of the spectrum. So let us bring this up a little bit more. Wow, the time like it not moving. It was like almost, it's just 10 minutes? All of that talking is 10 minutes? Wait.
What is happening on today? Naturally, computers like
All right, so let's look at some ways that we can identify the sensory impairment. What's going to be one very easy way? That once we are not visually impaired ourselves, we can do. What can we do? Observation. Observation is going to be one of those things we can use. So we're going to daily monitor children's behavior and their reaction. So again, the anecdotal records that we keep in early childhood, that helps. And again, I'll say parents, go to school and ask the teacher to share it with you. It is not top secret, right? You can say it and it helps you to figure out what's going on. We can look for patterns. These anecdotal records, again, they help us to see patterns, right? So we can look to see if they're always covering their ears when it's music time. We can look for different patterns. When it's food, what kind of food they don't like. You know, what kind of, if you are probably thinking that they don't like the vegetables, but maybe because you cook it so soft. You understand? Maybe they don't like the soft, or maybe because it's too hard. You know, so we can look to see and regulate and modulate things, and so we can navigate to see what's going on.
I mean, the color of
and the colors of things, the appearance, man. Some color of some things, they really turn you off. The way we present the things can really be a turn off too. But we'll do that presentation. When we start to look at our nutritional unit, we will get there. So again, we're going to use the journals and the anecdotal records. We can use checklists. So there are checklists for different 2-year-old, 2 to 3, whatever, 3 to 4. And there are checklists that we can look to see the developmental appropriate screening checklists to use those. Parents, you can download them, go online and download, or you can check your children at home. You don't have to wait for a teacher to call you and tell you that. You can go and you can check. Teachers, check and make the relevant reporting so that the children can be helped. We have the tactile and the auditory and visual and vestibular observation tools as well, so we can use all of those. We can also use parent interviews and questionnaires. You can use a Google form thingy, so we can gather other information about their behaviors at home, because one of the things that we know, or that is practiced in the counseling world, is that, and the assessing world, assessment, is that we do not label children based on their behavior in one environment. We need at least 3 environments that they frequent, and we normally think that 3 good environments, but then now we have to go find a 3rd one, because back then we normally say school, home and church. Now the children are not in church that much anymore, so we don't know where else we're going to go. Therefore, it's going to either cut down to 2, and they will probably label them with labels that they don't belong, all because, you see how important church is? It provides a space where children can operate. So that helps also in persons checking out to see the behavior before they label them. Take your child out of the house and send them to Sunday school. All right. Then we can also look at developmental screening tools. So basic early childhood screening tools, the track sensory development. We know that if you're listening to the news, you'd have heard about the age 4 assessment that was done, and what the government are saying based on what they have found out, that I don't remember the exact percentage, but I know one is 50 little bit, one is 50 enough, and one is 50 little bit, and one is 40 enough, right? And the 40 enough, probably about 49% of 4-year-olds are not developmentally ready. So we understand that we have problems, right? They're not developmentally ready. So that's the result. So they're having a lot of basic screening going on now. So if your child is one of those, or somebody you know, or some in your community or from your church, let's get activated to see what we can do. We also utilize referrals from specialists, occupational therapists for the sensory processing, the audiologist for the hearing concerns, and optometrist we go to, or the ophthalmologist. Yeah, we can use that one as well. For the visual concerns. Are we following? Are you hearing me still? Because it's raining cats and dogs over in my area, so I hope you're hearing me clearly still.
Same here, Auntie. I'm having so much difficulty hearing.
Oh my goodness. All right. Let's hurry up then. So we want to look at the role of the early childhood practitioner. What is our role? Again, I love being an early childhood practitioner. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking very hard about just settling at that level and cutting off the rest. I'm thinking so hard about doing that, but I'm waiting on the Lord's direction. All right, so what is it? So we see on the screen there, make note of them, because I feel like I have to be shouting now. So now that you have them on the screen, just write them down. Be observant and sensitive to the changes in behavior. Maintain ongoing communication with parents and caregivers. Document and report concerns professionally. Support inclusion, yeah, by adapting in the environment as needed, doing the relevant, doing the needful.
What's that?
What?
Support inclusion by adapting the environment.
There are going to be children who are a little bit out of the norm, so they are a part of your class. So you will have to create ways to include them. You have to adapt to the different needs that they will have. So let's say the person who has difficulty hearing in your class love use, like my class, that loves to use media. Yeah. I have sound box like his dancer keeping in my class.
Oh, yeah.
I have 2 sound boxes, 2 screen. So you understand, Seth, I have to be vigilant to see those who can't manage the dance when my dance starts. You know? So, yeah. Let me know when we're finished with the slide. Okay, great. All right. Is everyone done? I see one response. Okay. Whilst we're doing this, please remember that you have some information that you're supposed to be working on. Those are included in this unit. I won't be looking at them because I've given them to you to research. So you are supposed to be looking at the importance of suitable space allocation. Now that is important. I can almost guarantee that that's coming in the test, in the exam. So make sure that you research. Do not take for granted the things I give you to research. Research them, or you might prevent yourself from scoring what you need to score.
Auntie, that one was sent in the group to research?
Yes, it was sent. I don't remember if it was in Google Classroom or, let me see where I sent it. I had sent it somewhere. Can somebody? It was in the chat? Okay, thanks.
Yes, could you put those forms in the Google Classroom, please? The one for
the one for what?
I'm trying to remember what it is.
Okay.
The one to do the volunteer thing.
Oh. I want to also remind us to participate in class. I really don't, when I count up scoring one, let me look, scoring one on all ones on a unit with 18 section, If you score 1 on a unit with 18 sections and all the sections, you gain 1. I have to find the average of that section. So your average is going to be 1. Right? So you don't want to be scoring 1 when you can easily participate in class. Do your stuff. When I ask a question, I want to know what you're understanding. I can't verify your understanding if you don't speak back to me. And remember, I'm a Christian. I'm not going to do anything that will prevent me from, when the roll is called up yonder, I want to be there. Can we go to the next slide?
Yes, you may.
All right, thank you. All right, so I think we are, where's my slide? I think we're probably about closing time now. I'd like to give it even 2 minutes. So the key principle in what we have discussed this evening, especially in this area here, is that early identification, what that means, early intervention. Early identification, early intervention of all the things we've discussed this evening. Behavioral issue, whatever, early, so we can't be in denial. Denial doesn't help anybody. Denial doesn't help us. Early identification, turning a blind eye, doesn't help us. Early identification equals early intervention. So the earlier a sensory impairment is noticed, the faster the child can get the support and the less likely it is for them to be abused. Right? So this improves their learning outcome, their emotional well-being, and the classroom participation. I don't think we can lose at all in this. Amen? So ladies and gentlemen, here and here, guess what? We have come to the end of today's session. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope, as the Sir Jay prayed earlier, that it was a fruitful class. We'll come back tomorrow again, 5 to 7, for 2 more hours of exciting time. Again, read up your areas. What you're reading will really make sense to what we're doing here. We come back and we're going to try to wrap up Unit 1 tomorrow, so that next week we can do Unit 2. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening.